Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and tonight we'll be doing another class in a series of classes on on Pisces ascendant, Jupiter in the different signs. Tonight we'll be doing Jupiter in its sign of exaltation in Cancer. And like the word says, exaltation, it's a good position to have Jupiter. You like to have Jupiter in Cancer, because it means you would nurture. It's a sign of good nurturing, right? Jupiter is the planet of great good fortune and wisdom, and to have the Cancer there, the instincts. It's tremendously important. It gives you good instinct. It gives a person tremendous instincts. Gives them very good instincts, and they know how to relate to other people, and they know how to makes them very talented. It makes them very likable. It makes them. It's a good advantage in life to have Jupiter exalted in Cancer, especially when it's your ruling planet. And in Pisces, like we always been saying, Pisces Jupiter not only rules the ascendant, but also rules the 10th house for career. So you got the two best points, the ascendant and the midheaven in exaltation, ruled by Jupiter in exaltation, and Jupiter falls in the 5th house, the house of good fortune, of love, romance, children. By Iker, it's the children, right? And children, love, romance, it rules acting, investments, a host of other things also. Teaching, in all those areas of life, the person can be very, very successful. Tonight, actually, I'm going to show you a chart of a woman who is tremendously successful, but at least in her career, but in her private life, she was not so successful. I'm going to give you a course on how the dispositor of the ascendant can really harm the ascendant and take away a lot of its good significations. And we'll see that tonight in another couple minutes. But again, going back to the Jupiter should be good for children, right? Because it falls in the 5th house in exaltation. There should be a success with children. There should be a lot of children. Again, children is very hard to predict because it's cultural now. You didn't used to have to, look at a person's philosophy on life to learn how many children they were going to have. But, or which country they were born in and things like that. Today you have to, you have to see who they are to know, how many children they have, because people can choose to delay having children or to prevent completely from having children and all sorts of things like that. So, but in any case, Jupiter in Cancer normally would give a lot of children. It would make a woman very fertile to have Jupiter in Cancer in the 5th. And again, it's good for acting, right? It's 5th house is the house of creativity, acting. You could be an excellent teacher, right? Because it's house of children, teacher, teach children, working with children, all sorts of things along those lines, right? Because Cancer rules the youth, right? Cancer rules children. Cancer rules the youngest age, let's say. So, babies and things like that. And so you would expect to see all these things when you have Jupiter in the 5th house. All those areas of life should be very strong. And like I say, they're connected with the 1st house. The individual themselves is going to give them a good reputation. Right? When you have the ruler of the ascendant is you, your personality, who you are, and it make you very well liked. Having a ruling planet exalted will lift you up, and having it in the 10th, it'll lift your career up, giving you a lot of career success. And we're going to look somebody now. I want to look at a famous woman that she actually had a lot of career success, a lot of fame. But in other areas of life, I don't think she was so successful. And we're going to see that in her chart. Let's look at that. This is the lady's name. Also another lady, I don't really know her very much. Her name is Madeline Kahn. She was Jewish. Her father was Jewish. I looked up her mother was even Jewish. But unfortunately, her mother and father divorced at the age of 2. Her mother wanted her, and her mother took her daughter with her. But her mother was a little bit, was bohemian, and she wanted to be an actress, pursued a career in actressing, and she wanted to explore other religions, and which was very bohemian. And so most of the time, the Madeline Kahn was off in boarding schools being raised. So again, you see right away the difficult home life, and how does that square with Jupiter in Cancer, right? You would expect to have a nice home life just from that, and actually in her chart, Jupiter is in the 4th house, right? In the house of home exalted, you expect that she should have a really good home life. So what you have to do is that you look at the dispositor of Jupiter, and you'll see it's Cancer. The dispositor of Jupiter is the Moon. And you see in her chart, Moon is very tightly conjunct Saturn. Saturn is in retrograde, and so they're double approaching each other, which is very, very harmful, right? It takes away, it gives her like a distrust of people, difficulty to get close. It takes away a lot of the significations of that good Jupiter, right? It harms her emotionally. Right? Moon ruling the 4th house, the mother's influence, mother deserted her, the father deserted the family, and then the mother deserted her. She must have grown up tremendously harmed by this, and you see that right away by the dispositor of the Jupiter, the Moon. The Moon's so harmed by Saturn, and the Moon is also exactly trine to Mars. Even though it's a trine, Mars does not give good energy to the Moon. Does not. So the 2 malefics are very, very tightly aspected to that. And if you go further, the Moon, on the other side of the Moon is Uranus. So it's again, the Moon is in prison. Like we always say, on one side is the malefic Uranus, and the other side is Saturn. So it's harmed by 3 major planets. It's very, very harmed. The Moon, especially by that Saturn double approaching the Moon, it took away all the good from her 4th house. So she did, she did become very successful in career. People say she was top people in Hollywood and in theater. They said she was, like one of her kind. Unbelievably exceptional in her art. But when you come down and look at her personal life, it was probably a mess. I mean, I'm looking around trying to find her personal life, and there is none. You look, nobody talks about it. Was she ever, not really, probably was never married. It just mentions that 2 months before she died, she married her long-term partner. It's probably a symbolic type marriage or something, but and she never had children, no children, and so that you see the 5th house signification of that Jupiter was harmed by the Moon. So you see how important it is to look at the secondary dispositor of the ruling planet, because it can either add to the ruling planet or take away from it. In her chart also, she had a number of planets. So you look at her chart, it's actually tremendous. Besides the Jupiter exalted, she had Venus in fall, and she had the Sun in fall, and she had Mars in detriment, 3 planets in fall or detriment, which also didn't exactly, help her, and they're all, again, so you see her Venus and her Moon, the female planets in her chart were very harmed. Venus in fall, and the Moon harmed tremendously by Saturn, and she actually died at a young age. She died in her 50s from ovarian cancer, which is actually connected with the moon and Venus, and both of them were very harmed in her chart. But she was a very talented lady. She had a very strong Neptune, again for acting, the secondary ruler. It was opposite the ascendant. They had shyness. They had shyness to the chart. It was also in good it was in square to the midheaven. But it gave a career in theater and acting, filmmaking, also conjunct in the Venus. So it's an interesting chart, and you see how a person, in one area of life they can be very successful. And this is the true 20th century woman, very successful in the career, but none of the good area of children and family and home ever came out in her chart. And I thank everybody for listening.